Creativity and community are absolutely vital in challenging times. Welcome to Syncreate, a show where we explore the intersections between creativity, psychology, and spirituality. We believe everyone has the capacity to create. Our goal is to demystify the process and expand the boundaries of what it means to be creative. We talk with visionaries and change makers and everyday creatives working in a wide range of fields and mediums, from the arts to science, technology, and business. We aim to illuminate the creative process, from imagination to innovation and everything in between. I'm Melinda Rothaus, and I help individuals and organizations bring their dreams and visions to life.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Gulick, and I'm a writer, educator, and writing coach. We are the co-authors of a book on the creative process, also called Syncreate. At Syncreate, we're here to support your creative endeavors. If you have an idea for a project or a new venture, and you're not sure how to get it off the ground, find us at syncreate.org. Our book, now available in both print and audiobook format, walks you through the stages of the creative process so you can take action on your creative goals. We offer resources, creative process tools, and coaching to help you bring your work to the world. Our monthly creativity coaching group has begun. We'd be delighted for you to join us. We'd also love to hear your feedback on the show. Please drop us a line at info@syncreate.org. We're looking for feedback on how we can improve the show, what's resonating for you, and what future topics you'd like us to cover. Welcome to the Syncreate podcast. So today we want to talk about how important community is, and we've covered this in various topics, but in various episodes or quickies. But what we want to talk about right now is how do we maintain faith in our creativity when the world feels fraught? There's a lot of change happening right now, and people might be saying, I should step away from my creative projects. I need to focus elsewhere. And we wanted to make sure that you're coming into 2025 with an idea of thriving and not just surviving. And for us, one of the ways that we want to live into that is making sure that we make time for our creativity rather than kind of honing ourselves down or getting kind of anemic. And I'm just going to hang on and get through. How can we open up a little bit so that we're bringing a fuller self to the community? And how do we make sure that fear does not overtake our creative process?
Yes, and I'm thinking about creativity as a self-care practice. I think sometimes have this idea of like creativity is a luxury, or I don't have time for that, but many of us have some kind of like morning routine where we get up and have some coffee, maybe do journaling or meditation before we start the day. Why not have a daily creative practice as part of that? Whether it's like artist way style morning pages or drawing. I've talked in the past about like just drawing a little mandala every day. All you have to do is draw a circle on a piece of paper and fill it in however you want. There's all kinds of like small, quick creative practices we can do, but and we've talked about the benefits, like the mental and physiological health benefits of creative practice. So, how can we kind of reframe creativity not as a luxury, but as a necessity for thriving?
I think that's exactly it. It's not like creativity is not a luxury. It is a necessity for self-care, for community. It shapes the self that we bring to others. The last week I've had a series of difficult things happen. Some work uncertainty, the car won't start. It's been -0 here in the
-0?
I didn't know my car
sounds cold.
Very cold. And our bathtub pipe froze.
Ooh.
And then this thing, and then that thing. And I was like, you know what? It would be really easy to give in to this and kind of despair or like, oh, everything's just crap and it's going to stay crap. Like it's almost seductive. And
Yeah.
hold on, Charlotte. What we need to do is be bigger in this moment. And bigger has so many different iterations or incarnations or what that can look like. For me, being bigger means staying grounded in gratitude and making sure that I'm not shrinking myself in the world, that I'm still going to show up whole and not like overly invested in all this thing and that thing that happened. So Drew and I went to breakfast last week, and the waiter, he was dancing. He came over like, "How are you doing this morning?" And I was like, "I noticed that you're dancing." He's like, "I used to dance all the time, and I've stopped, and I'm
Mm.
trying to bring it back in." And and so he danced a little bit more and then took our orders. And then every time he came by, he did a little swirl or flare move. And at the end, I was like, just keep dancing. And I said to him, let's make sure that we um, thrive and not just survive. And he's like, that means so much to me.
No.
I think it's reminding each other, too, that there are small ways that we can be expressive, even when we're very afraid.
Absolutely. Yeah, so it's like, how can we find joy in small ways? And our pro tip from the episode that's out right now, again with Marcus McWhorter from Austin Community College, I was like, "What's the pro tip?" He goes, "Sing in the car." And I was like, "Yes." I mean, anyone can do it. There's no bar to entry. No one's gonna hear you. Just rock out in your car, right?
We had a friend's son who lives in New York City come and stay with us for a couple of days. He just needed to get out of the city, and he was going hiking. And we have a lot of musical instruments around. Um, and he's like, "Hey, do you guys sing?" And we were both like, "No." And he's like, "Let's sing." And so we sang with him, and I was like, and then I got more into it. But it was so cool that he was like, "Let's have joy in this moment. Let's
Yeah,
be big in how we're expressing ourselves rather than that shrink." So
yeah.
I think it's vitally important that we say yes to small ideas. Some things might be on hold right now. Like you might be writing a novel and you're not sure if it's going to have traction in the world, but that doesn't mean you should stop being creative.
Right. And one thing is to like, there's like a big reframe here, right? Cuz like things can feel kind of dark right now, like over this past weekend, for example, it was a long weekend and there's a lot of changes happening in our country. And I was just feeling kind of down and kind of heavy and it was cold again, those big storms came through and I was actually talking to my therapist about it and he was like, "Are you lonely?" And I was like, "No, I'm not lonely. Like, I like my solitude." And he's like, "Are you afraid of future loneliness?" I was like, "No, it's just," but I'd come back from Mexico. I'd been leading a retreat. I'd been around a bunch of people. And then it was like all of a sudden it was just quiet and cold and dark. And I was by myself. And there's just a little bit of a transition that happens. But then one night before I was getting ready to go to bed, I was like, you know, as the kids say these days, I was like, am I just sitting here rotting in my bed? And then I was like, no, I'm gestating. you know, I'm preparing. Like in the winter, we hunker down and everything goes underground and the trees lose their leaves and they're not dead. They're just gestating. They're just waiting to reemerge in the springtime. So that was just like a really helpful kind of reframe for me.
I wanna So my kid took a languages of Oregon class, and one of the things that they asked in that class is they not call them dead language or extinct languages, but
Mhm.
they call them dormant.
Mm. Love
Really
that.
important, like language revitalization projects. Again,
Mhm.
just the reframe.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. So what's our pro tip for today?
Our pro tip is to ask yourself, have you made yourself a little smaller lately, or less expressive? And if you have, we get it. We understand. Sometimes it may not feel safe to be fully expressive, or you may not have the energy for it because there feels like there's a lot of change and uncertainty. And what we are suggesting is that what's one small thing that you can do to reclaim your joy? Is it to sing in the car? Is it to dance when you get out of the shower a little bit? Is it that scarf that feels a little bit bold and resplendent? Like, what is something that you can do? And maybe you're one of those folks that are like, oh, that doesn't feel great, but like maybe a bold underwear, and you know you've got that, and that brings you joy.
Or the socks,
One sock,
the crazy socks,
the
right?
crazy socks. What we encourage you is to pay attention to ways that you might be shrinking yourself and pay attention to ways that you might expand when it feels safe. And because the world needs us to be bright and expressive in our joy.
Yes, the world needs our creativity.
Find us and connect with us on YouTube and social media under Syncreate. And we're now on Patreon as well. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe and leave us a review.
We're recording today from Record ATX Studios in Austin, with Charlotte joining us from the Hudson Valley. The podcast is produced in collaboration with Mike Osborne at 14th Street Studios. Thanks so much for being with us, and see you next time.